All right, everyone. So we're gonna continue our dive down into the Unreal Dungeon. We're just continuing from the video that I recorded and uploaded yesterday. There were no gaps in editing or recording or uploading, so don't look at the time in which this was uploaded and compare it to the time for the last video. The first thing I want to show you while we're diving down here is this is our first instance of herbs in the game that we've seen so far. Now, herbalism is a skill that we got for killing Keythrax. So it's nice that we've finally run into some herbs. Now, herbs grow in very specific patterns, and here I'm shaping the patch of herbs so it's stable. If you've ever heard of Conway's Game of Life, that's how herbs grow. So a patch of 4 herbs is stable and will grow and not spread and it won't shrink. A patch of 3 herbs will grow in a square, will grow into a patch of 4 herbs. So 3 or 4 herbs in a block is my ideal layout here. And I'll go over what some of the herbs do in a little bit. Here's another patch of herbs that I'm going to see. I have like a little Z block there, and I'm going to shape it so it's a patch of 3, and now it'll grow into a patch of 4. I use the herbalism skill on each patch, that way I can identify what it is, and then as they grow, I'll be able to pick them. With a higher herbalism skill, you identify herbs faster, and you pick better herbs. Like, you can pick more per bush, and they're not cursed. Here's a statue I ran into. It's a statue of a human wizard named Billy. So I just found a statue of myself. I thought that was weird. I'd never seen that before. I looked up what this specific statue does. If you kick this statue, you receive damage as if you kick yourself. So I just thought that was weird. I had never seen that before. I'm going to go back and I'm going to talk to it, and it doesn't work. So I didn't know what it did. Right there, really quick, you saw some of the herbs and stuff I got, or like I said, I'll go over those in a little bit. But I'm continuing to dive down. Here's another dungeon. I'm sorry, another vault. I'm just diving down. I'm cutting out a lot of it because it's like kind of grindy. But here I hit level 13. Like, here's a slime vault. Super annoying. So this vault right here would be dangerous for a melee character if they didn't have a good weapon. So if they have like an Eternium or an Adamantium weapon, it would be good because it wouldn't it can't degrade. If you hit certain slimes, they will degrade your weapon as you hit them. Some slimes can stun you, paralyze you. Some can poison you. It's not good. Here, when I leveled up, this papyrus scroll dropped, and so it reads, "Hero, I am waiting for you. Visit my palace in the ancient pyramid for a meeting. Come as soon as possible. Signed, Rehetep." So when you hit level 13, that scroll always drops somewhere around you, and it is an invitation to the pyramid. The pyramid is a place in the game. It's only available from level like 13 to 16. And there's some good stuff in it, so you definitely want to go there. I might be wrong on when it closes, but I think it's 16. That'll be our next stop after we reach High Mountain Village, which is our ultimate destination for this dungeon. So I'm just going through here, and I'm fighting some more slimes. This is kind of a abnormal dungeon layout. This isn't the type of dungeon you typically see. Normally the rooms are a little bit more organized. right there, I was just waiting to get my mana back. Now, these slime dungeons are dangerous because slimes can repopulate. And so you really want to clear them out as fast as possible. And since I only have spells, really, I could use my weapon, but I'm afraid it would degrade if I hit the slimes. So I really want to use my spells, but I also have to worry about my mana consumption. So here I find another secret room full of nothing but slimes. I probably should have, since that room was full. If it's full, they can't expand any further. And so that room was stable. I should have maybe got some of more of my power points back. But I'm just continuing to clear. I want to use Magic Missile, which I'm using here, not only because it's cheap, but because it won't destroy anything on the ground. Firebolt and Acid Bolt have a chance of, and I think maybe even Frostbolt has a small chance of destroying certain items on the ground. But Magic Missile won't at all. But the good thing about these dungeons here is that there's a lot of good material and stuff here. A potion of water, some gold, a scroll that I haven't identified yet. I just picked up that brittle book. Now, if I was paying really close attention, I would have not picked up that book, because if you go back and you pause it, it was only on the screen for just a small second. That book actually weighed 400 pounds, or 400 stone. So all spell books weigh 100 stone. So if you if you see a book and you realize it's not 100 stone, then it's not a spell book, and it's almost guaranteed not to be worth picking up. But you'll see what it is here shortly. More secret rooms, more slimes, more money, more risotto. There's a reference for you guys. Remember Just Shoot Me? God dang. Anyway. See here I'm using Firebolt, which I really shouldn't be, because if you saw, I burned a scroll on the ground. So, I wonder if I'm low on Magic Missile. I'm going a little bit too fast for me to check my my own spells here. But that's the problem with running a caster, is you can run out of cast of spells. So if you get unlucky, you don't find any. That's just the way it is. So I cleared out that dungeon. Vault. There we go. I couldn't remember the name. But I got another spellbook of Magic Missile, and I've got 2 other books there that you'll see what they are. So I read all of that Magic Missile. This is that 400 stone book was the Collected Works of Confucius, and so every time you read the Collected Works of Confucius, it'll give you a random fortune cookie phrase. And I end up reading it a few times. I think I cut it out, but the other one is Farsight. I think you shouldn't read the Works of Confucius. I think it can confuse you if you read it. I'm not 100% sure, but it's just not a good book to read. There's no point in reading it. So those are the spells I have right now. I got Farsight, which you'll see. You can't see it right now, but as soon as I open this door, you'll see. My vision is going to be much further, which is good, because if you remember in the last video that I uploaded yesterday, you'll remember that I talked about how if I cast a spell and there's a monster that I don't want to kill outside of my line of sight, that's bad. And so having Farsight, it lets me see, obviously, much further, so I can I don't accidentally kill something that I don't want to kill. Even like as an archer, though, you can shoot even if you had Farsight, like an Amulet of the Eye, or it's possible to get Farsight as an archer, I think, but I'm not sure. Archers aren't casters, so But you can get any spell with a Wand of Wonder. But even if you had Farsight, you could still shoot further than Farsight will let you see. So it's archers can shoot really far. It's crazy. So right now I'm on UD6. There are 8 levels to the Unreal Dungeon. I'm level 13. Just continuing to dive down here. I don't find anything else interesting on the rest of that floor. So, but if you notice, when I first started this floor, I felt excited again. So I've just now run into my 3rd vault of this dungeon dive right here. So I could go straight down if I wanted to, but I really want to find this dungeon. Actually, I think this might be the 2nd dungeon. Because I do believe there's one coming up. I discovered that door right there without searching because I'm wearing a ring of searching. I don't know it yet, though, because I haven't identified my items yet. But I am wearing a ring of searching. That's why that door popped out of nowhere. I forget what kind of vault this is. So I ate that corpse and it says you feel uneasy because humanoids don't like eating other humanoids. Except for like orcs. I consider orcs humanoids, but people don't have a problem eating orcs for some reason. Or goblins. Those are all humanoids, but I guess if you look too closely like an actual like human, then it doesn't do anything. It's just you like feel uneasy about eating people that look like you, I guess. So right there, I casted I think it was a magic missile right past that item, and it turned into a monster. That's a mimic. And so if I had let it attack me, it's possible that it could have paralyzed me. And if you're unlucky, you'll get hit again while you're paralyzed, and it'll re-paralyze you. And mimics can one-shot you just through paralyzation. And so it's you gotta be really careful. Any item on the ground could be a mimic. But they're rare enough that it's like not something that you like want to go about and like, you know, kick every item or whatever. But you know, it is something to be wary of. If you ever see an empty shop, then that's actually a room full of mimics. So you want to be careful about that. I've died to that, and I've heard of other people dying to that too. Just like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, free items, and then it's just like, well, time to start up a new character. But here's an undead dungeon. This must be the 2nd vault I've run into, because there's actually one more further into the video. So I just hit level 14, and that's good. All these vaults that I run into are really helping me. I'm getting a lot of EXP. But like I said, that one dungeon is only open for a short amount of time, so I have to be careful. I have to balance out leveling up versus being able to access that dungeon. So I've gotten kind of lucky in that all the dungeons I've run into so far, or all the vaults I've run into so far, have been type dungeons. Like this is an undead dungeon. The last one was a slime dungeon. If you remember in the previous video, we ran into a mixed vault, and there were some pretty tough monsters in there. There was like acid vortexes and stuff, acid vortices. And that's not something that you really want to run into, and you don't really want to deal with this. I'm getting some spell books and stuff. Here you'll see a I'm looking because I'm counting. I'm lining up my shop here. You'll see magic missile actually bounces off walls, and so I'm gonna, instead of going forward and standing right next to that monster, I'm gonna bounce it off the wall and diagonally up to the rest of the monsters. It's not something that's super necessary to do, but if there was like, say there was like a really strong monster around the corner, then that might be something that you'd really want to take advantage of. I'm not worried about these zombies. I'm kind of worried about the ghosts and the ghouls, because the ghouls can paralyze you as well, and so that's something that you really want to be careful for. So yeah, I've pretty much cleared out that vault now, and I'm gonna looking to dive down a little bit deeper. Right here, I hear a thundering explosion, and then I see some blood right next to this door. So somebody must have tried to open this door, and there must have been an explosion trap on it, and it killed them. It's better than him than me, I'd say, but those explosion traps they're nothing to mess around with, and that's why it's dangerous to open doors that are locked. I feel excited again. So here is the third vault that we're going to hit for this dungeon. It's a little. It's hard to say whether it's lucky or unlucky. Vaults are very tedious to clean up, but they also have good stuff. A lot of treasure and stuff. Here we have another slime vault. And so that's even more like kind of unlucky, just because slimes kind of suck to deal with. I'm gonna skip through a lot of it because it's something that you guys have already seen before. But you can also see this layout. This layout is not conducive to a caster like me. I really like to line people up. That way I can get them like the most out of my spells, hit as many people as possible. But you can see how zigzagged this dungeon is. So it's a lot of places for people to like. Or for slimes to like just get in and hide. So here, if you remember last video, I said I have some water that I hope is blessed, and I have a spell that I hope is a scroll of identify. It didn't turn out to be that case. Well, this time it turned out to be the case. I dipped a scroll that I hoped was identify into a potion of water that I hope was bless. And it turned out to be accurate. So now I know all the functions of my items. So I'm just going to show you guys really quick, like all the items that I have. Some good stuff. I have a waterproof blanket here. That adamantium broadsword's not too bad. 1d7 plus 7. If I could pair that with my shield that I also have as well. I have some good wands, wand of acid, wand of cold. Those are good if I run out of power points. Some good potions here. That blessed potion of cure corruption I got for turning in Keythrax's corpse, I think. Potion of uselessness we picked up at that shop. That's going to be good when we get very deep down. Here are all my scrolls here. I got 3 scrolls of identify, blessed scrolls of identify. So if I ever need to learn anything, I can just read that and I'll know everything in my inventory now. I see here are 2 spell books that I've picked up, and here's my my food. I think I have Curaria Mancox as an herb that's can cure poison, or that can cure sickness. Alrania Antidote is another herb that can cure poison. Spenceweed can heal me. Stomophila can make me feel satiated, so I won't have to eat as much. It like really fills you up. And there's another one that heals you too. And then some herbs are only used. Their only use is in like alchemy potions. And so I'm a wizard, so I can do alchemy. So it's good to have some of those, but I don't use alchemy that much. But if you max out alchemy, you can get a potion of gain attributes, which is really nice. But typically it's pretty hard to make. See there, I just hit that green slime. I could have been poisoned potentially, but I am resistant to poison. In the last episode, we ate that spider that helped us be resistant to poison. So I pretty much cleared that out, that dungeon out, and then we come across. I think this might be our first altar. Unfortunately, it's a neutral altar, and I'm lawful. So my goal now is to convert the altar into lawful. I could put a lot of money on it, but that's kind of risky. One thing that really helps is to sacrifice a creature on it. Now, I don't want to sacrifice a neutral creature on it because it's a neutral altar, and gods don't like it when you sacrifice like creatures. If I sacrifice a neutral creature on it, it's likely that I would turn the altar into a chaotic altar, and I don't want to do that. slimes are neutral and they reproduce, and you can't sacrifice reproduced creatures. And so it's kind of actually really unfortunate that I came across this altar on this floor, because it's really hard to clear this a vault completely of all slimes, and then while you're trying to sacrifice other creatures, they're just gonna multiply. See, like, I'm back in this vault and there's a bunch of slimes already. So and other creatures really don't like to spawn when there's so many slimes on the floor already. So now I'm just looking for a chaotic creature. I don't want to do lawful because I'm lawful, and there's almost no lawful creatures to actually sacrifice. Yes, so right here, this is a doppelganger, a greater doppelganger. I think we've run into doppelgangers before, but they match you in every way, so they can confuse you as well. If they get right next to you, they turn into you basically, and then it confuses you. So it's not something that it is something that you want to be careful of. But I'm taking kind of a risk here because I'm not 100% sure if this guy's chaotic or neutral. But I sacrifice him, and the altar turns into a lawful altar. So I did the right thing. That'll allow me to bless some stuff. Bless my holy water. Which will allow me to bless other stuff. Here I sacrifice about 5,000 gold. That's just to get my piety up a little bit higher. Gold is generally one of the better things to sacrifice, especially if you're a dwarf. Dwarven gods love gold. Here I'm digging. I discovered I had a wand of digging, so I'm digging through this wall just for easier access. And right there, I cut away, but I really wanted to show you guys that I left that dark orc there. There's a quest leader in the game that might want me to kill a dark orc, and they're kind of hard to come by. And so that dark orc is there. Remember that. So we finally made it to High Mountain Village, actually. Here I'm going to just read a few spell books here. I got Calm Monster. I think I've got 2 more. I had Calm Monster, Slow Monster, and I think I had one more that I cut out. I think it was Firebolt. So I'm casting Farsight here because one of the dangers of High Mountain Village is a lot of people are either neutral or friendly here, but not everyone. And sometimes there's a stone giant lord that can spawn here, and he can one-shot you by throwing a boulder at you. So it's just something that you really want to be careful for. You don't want to rest on your laurels here. See, this guy, this swordman is hostile to me. So I can kill him, and nobody will care. It's, there's a stone, that might be a stone giant lord. I think I'm looking at it right now. Just the stone giant. So that's not that bad. And he's friendly. So as long as I don't attack him, he won't become unfriendly. So here's another mixed shop. This shop is guaranteed, and it's guaranteed to be mixed. There's a rattling warlord in here that I gotta take care of. I don't want to fight him in the shop, because if I break something, the shopkeeper would be really mad at me. And then he would hire goons to come and get me. And that would be pretty much the end of my run. Those goons, you don't want to mess with those goons. So I'm just walking over everything here to, again, to identify things. That plate mail of sloth is not as good. It's more protection points than what I have, but it's not very good. Plus it's of the sloth, which I think would slow me down. So you have to be careful because a lot of times there's I think maybe like 50% of the time or 75% of the time there's actually a mimic in this shop. One of the items is actually a mimic. I got lucky and it didn't happen this time. Here's a crystal of knowledge. I'm going to pick that up because that can increase my learning skill, my learning stat. So if you look up at the top of my bar right now my learning is 20. I'm going to bless that crystal and use it, and that's going to increase my learning. So it's going to go from 20 to we'll see here in a sec. 20 to about to use it. A little slower than I should be. 20 to 22. So it went up by 2 points. That's pretty good. It also showed me a lot of the level. If you can see that I know some things about the level layout that I didn't know before. So I'm just doing a little bit more exploring, but basically I've done everything that I want to do here. The main point of diving down to Highmountain Village is to generate the dungeon features. I got spell books and stuff, and so that's really helpful. I got a lot of spells. There's some other people here that have quests that are available for me, but my character, I don't want to do those quests. Not right now, probably not ever, I don't think. So yeah, so we made it out of that dungeon, and now we're going to the pyramid. So here's the pyramid, that's what we're going to do next. Alright guys, thanks so much, bye.